Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Jahan Dotson out of Penn State in our NFL draft preview is our expert, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, Jeremiah? Talking some wide receivers today with the football season over. We've got all of the draft prospects coming up very soon, man. We've done probably close to 100 so far, so we're probably going to get close to 200, right, by the time April rolls around, as many as we're doing per week. And go with Penn State here with Jahan Dotson. Can't wait to talk more about the young man.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching from home, tell us, what do you think? Where will Jahan Dotson end up? He is a Penn State grad. He's been doing his homework. He's been busting it. Where do you think he'll land in the NFL? So, Mr. Logan Landers, tell us, what do we have to look forward to from this young man, and where do you think that he will end up? All right. Yeah, it's the greatness of live television is that we broadcast here live here from Atlanta, Georgia, with our show 100 Yards of Football, and there are definitely times when our connections change and all those things. So one of the best things that I like to do when we get to these points is to talk more about what we love about 100 Yards of Football. We come to you live every single week with incredible coverage, including draft prospect specials and more. And with this particular one, we were bringing you Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. He is a wide receiver. And give me just a second, and we're going to get our boy Logan Landers back here with us. All right.
Here we are.
Yeah. All right. So Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. What do we look forward to with this young man?
Let's do it. So, yeah, this guy is very talented, right? A very solid player through and through. And, man, he's done a ton at Penn State. So just a little bit of a career overview, right? He ranks third all-time at Penn State in terms of receiving touchdowns with 23, fourth all-time in receiving yards with 2,620, and also fourth in receptions with 175. He's only one of 10 Nittany Lions in school history to reach the 2,000 career receiving yard mark. Plus, he owns 10 career 100 or more yard games on the receiving end, tied for second all-time at Penn State. Also, he ranks sixth all-time with – he's also good on punt coverage too, right? He ranks sixth all-time in terms of his average per punt return with about 14.6, close to 15. So he can do everything you want to on a football field. Looking a little bit more at him, right? So we just talked about his career. His first season on campus, he did a solid job, right? He played in 8 games, 13 catches, 203 yards. Nothing too much, but he got on the field nonetheless and got some action. All right, so then we go a little bit further, right? Then we go into his sophomore year where he started to break out a little bit. 27 catches, 488 yards, 5 touchdowns, looking good so far there. Then we have 2020, of course, last season, the COVID-shortened year. He had 52 catches for 884 yards. So he doubled some stats there, looked very solid. Also had 8 touchdowns, a career high up until this past 2021 season, his senior year, his last year here at Penn State. He played in 12 games, 91 catches, 1,182 yards, a 13.0 average per catch, 12 touchdowns on the year for him as well. So you could see he improved every single year, which is what you can ask for. That's all you can ask for out of these young guys. And, he did not play in the Senior Bowl, so we didn't get to see him there. But I can imagine with the NFL Combine coming up in just a little bit, we're going to see how he can do there. He's got good speed, right? Let's talk more about how his athleticism and whatnot will play into the NFL. Like I say, he's got a good size. He's 5'11", 184 pounds, so he's a little bit smaller, right? But a little bit faster also. Looking more at him, he's a top recruit coming out of high school, did great in Penn State, and now he's ready to move on to the NFL. He's a good runner, great footwork, right? He's not going to waste any movements with his legs. He gets there, and he's a good route runner. Like I said, not the ideal size, but not everyone has to be 6'3", 230, right, to be a great receiver in the NFL. Another thing, too, that I think is really going to help him, his hands are elite. Only had 2 drops as a senior this year and over 130, 140 passes thrown his way. So he ain't going to drop the ball a whole lot. he's great at getting difficult catches too, right? Whenever things are tight in the end zone, or if it's a 50-50 ball, more times than not,
I feel like Mr. Logan Landers is about to say more times than not he will catch that ball. And this is something to note. Is like when we're live, we have connection issues from time to time. We have things we have to figure out on the fly. But just know this: that 100 yards of football comes to you live because we enjoy football. We enjoy bringing you these amazing players and stats. Mr. Logan Landers, you back with us?
we're back with us, man. It's not a video without some technical difficulties. Am I
Hey,
right?
it comes and it goes. It's all good, brother.
It's
Keep
all
going.
good.
Yep.
But yeah, this guy, a track athlete in high school, did great. Like I said, amazing hands, and the way he's able to just get off the line, get past his receivers, some of the best in the country, best in this upcoming draft. And I really like this guy, right? Only thing is some of the weaknesses, he might get knocked off some of his routes because his frame's a little bit smaller. Like I said, he is gonna his size might hurt him a little bit in the 50-50 balls. Like I said, you're great in college, but it might not work as well in the NFL. You're going to have bigger, stronger guys. Um, I think that he is going to have to face that challenge, right? Just with his size of being a little bit on the smaller side to adjust and see what he can do. Maybe his stats might not be as impressive. But I think that overall, just my final thoughts on him, I think he's going to have a good career. He's proven in college and high school that he has the ability to win, the ability to perform, and to look good doing it too, right? He's great with his hands, and as long as you can get him the ball and give him some open space, I think he can really do a ton of damage. So we'll see where he ends up. Like I said, I think he's going to be a good receiver in the NFL. And like I said, it's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the fight in the dog. So I think he's going to be great as a receiver come April.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think you're definitely right on that. And everybody who's watching or listening to our podcast, tell us, what do you think? Where do you think Jahan Dobson's going to end up? And do you think that he has what it takes to make it through the NFL draft? We will be watching this young man throughout the next 2 months to see exactly what happens in the draft. And if you're listening to our podcast, thank you so much. But if you're not listening to our podcast, come and join us. 100 yards of football, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including on your Spotify app, your Apple Podcast, Amazon, Google Podcast. You can use your home device where you use your voice and say, hey, play 100 yards of football podcast, and it will play it right off the bat. So just keep in mind, anywhere that you listen, including over on Apple Podcast, Overcast, Amazon, we love to have you with us, and we bring you this podcast every single week, pretty much daily. So join us over there. Thank you so much for watching our NFL draft prospect of Jahan Dotson out of Penn State with our host, Mr. Logan Landers. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and we'll be back with another